Hello again, I'm Tom and this is Real Six String. Today's lesson we're going to be working on my top 5 essential chord progressions that will help you to practice and to improve. The chord progressions we're working with are going to be Zombie, Free Falling, Let It Be, Good Riddance and Stand By Me. First up we have Zombie by the Cranberries. The first chord that we have is our E minor. And the strumming pattern is very, very simple. It's all down strums except a little up strum at the end just before you change chords. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up before you change. The chord sequence effectively goes E minor, C, G, D for the entire song. But there's the option there, you can use either, whichever way you prefer, but you can use the C major 7 in the verses. So instead of the C here, if you take off your first finger, it makes a C major 7. And that's the one they do use in the verse, but it's up to you. The C will still work if that's where you're up to. So we've got the E minor, and then straight after that up strum, we're moving to our C or C major 7. And then straight from there to our G. And then straight from there to our D. And then back to the E minor, and it goes round and round for the entire song. The second one up we have is Free Falling by Tom Petty. The original song has a capo on the 3rd fret, so that's where we're going to be learning it here. This one is very simple. It's just going from the D up to the G. And remember with this one, if you're using the G that has both of those fingers on the bottom, you don't need to move your ring finger as you move between the D and G. That will just shorten the time you need to move and make that chord progression a little bit smoother. So from the D to the G to start, and then we strum the G again, back to the D, and then to an A to finish. And that is literally the entire song. That repeats and repeats and repeats for all the verses and all the choruses. If you're struggling to get started with it, you can use a D sus4 instead of the G. So from the D, you're going up to the sus4, so you're just putting that little finger down. And then you're strumming that sus4 again, back to the regular D, and then to the A to finish. So that would sound like... So it's going to work either way. The third chord progression we're going to have is going to be Let It Be by the Beatles. This one is literally your 4-chord song, which is made very, very famous by the Axis of Awesome. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's very well recommended to show you what you can do with just a limited number of chords. So it's a very famous progression, and I've chosen Let It Be, but there are literally hundreds of songs which have this very same chord progression. So we're starting off with C, and doing the same strumming pattern we've done before for all of the chords. So it's just going to be down, miss, down, down, up, for every single chord throughout the chord progression. So you can get away with doing those 4 chords, but there are a few tiny little changes which I'll cover as well. So we've got C, up to G, from there we're going to A minor, and then we're we finish off on F. And then when you go around it again, this is optional because you can get around the song without it, but there are a few tiny changes. On the next one, C again. Then we'll go into G again. And on the last one, if you want to do that descending bass line, you go to the F instead. And then all you're doing is going down from your 4th string there on the 3rd fret, using your middle finger to come down to the 2nd fret, then down to the open string, and then to your C to finish. The 4th chord progression we have is Good Riddance by Green Day. I love this one as a song for beginners because it's a great chance to get used to your chord changes and your strumming arm while still keeping everything simple. So what you want to do is keep these 2 fingers on the bottom 2 strings for the entire part. So your little fingers there on the 3rd fret of your 1st string, and then your ring fingers there on the 3rd fret of your 2nd string. And then you fill in the rest of the G from there. And that means that as you move, it gives you an anchor of those 2 fingers to pivot around, and you don't have to take your entire hand off and then try and find your positioning. First things first, we're going to do that G, and we're going to do 2 strumming patterns on there. And our strumming pattern is just going to be down, down, up, down, up. And each of those is 1 bar. So we're going to do 2 of those on the G. Then we're going to move to what's called a C add 9. So these top 2 fingers here, we're going to move both down by a string and do 1 more strumming pattern there. And then we're going to get rid of the middle finger entirely and move our index finger down by a string. So with this one, as it's a D sus4, we want to try and avoid the top string. So if you're hitting it as well, it's going to start making the chords sound quite muddy. So in time, try and bring your thumb over to mute that top string, so it evens out the chords, but you can always try and strum from further down and try and avoid it. It's just going to make it sound a little bit clearer and a little bit more musical. So to finish, just 1 strumming pattern on that D sus4. And then you go back to the G to finish. And you go round and round that. That's the entire intro and the first part of the verse. The last chord progression we have for today is going to be an absolute classic in Stand By Me by Ben E. King. To be in the original key of A major, we're going to need to play it with a capo on the 2nd fret. And the strumming pattern we're going to have is going to be exactly the same as the one we've just learned in Good Riddance. And just the same as Good Riddance, we start off with 2 bars of G. So the 2 strumming patterns on there. Then we go to E minor for 2 strumming patterns. And then we're going to C for 1 strumming pattern. Then to D for a strumming pattern. And we finish off with 2 more on G. And that once again repeats all the way through the song. If you're struggling with any of the parts of any of these songs, I've got a lot of other videos which help you to understand all the individual parts, from the strumming patterns to the chords to the hand positions. So if you're having trouble, try and refer to those and try and build it up in your own way. At the same time as that, if you are having trouble, you can always break up the strumming patterns and the chords, practice the changes first, and then try and add it all together. So take it at a pace that's more realistic to you. And if you're still having any trouble, you can always contact me in the comments section, and I'm more than happy to help. And that for today is our entire video. Thank you very much for watching. I've had a great time making it. If there's anything you're not sure about or anything you want to see moving forward, let me know in the comments section and I'm more than happy to help you out. Other than that, please like and subscribe as it really helps me out, really helps me to move forward. Happy practicing, and I'll speak to you in the next one.